Hello, my name is Sam, and this is my very first indie game devlog. Alright, so what you're seeing here is the game that I've been working on for almost a year and a half already. It's a small game, but it's definitely taking a lot longer than I thought. And since this is my first devlog and I have a year worth of progress already, I thought it would be best to start my devlog with how I started this project. So I'm not going to talk about the technical aspect of the development today. I'm going to talk about why I designed the game this way, why I chose this kind of look of the game and all that. So I'd like to go back to when I started my previous project, which is quite a few years ago. At that time I had an idea to make a game from the fun activities that kids play in playground. I believe this is called hopscotch. It's a little game where you have to toss a pebble onto one of the rectangles or triangles that are drawn on the ground, and you have to hop through them in a certain way to retrieve the pebble that you threw. So I wanted to make a game out of that with some very simple and rough GIF animation feel to it. So I started a Unity project and I did quite a bit of work on it. I did some research, a lot of codings and drawings, and after working on it for quite a bit, I think there was the moment it may sound dramatic, but I think there was the moment that I really realized just how hard solo game dev can be. I was always interested in making games, but all I've really done before this was just making few prototypes or games from Unity tutorials, so I guess you can say playing around with the game engine was pretty much the only experience I had before starting this project, and there was no way for me to know how difficult things could get. And my plan was to do not only programming but all the arts and even music for the game, and with programming being pretty much the only thing I can really do, working on arts really was a huge chaos, and I don't think I even need to talk about how music was going to end up. I could see my process was getting awfully inefficient. Maybe I wasn't determined enough, maybe I thought I could do it all just with determination, but with this inefficiency burning me out, I just could not keep on working on it, and so I ended up quitting this. I just could not see the end of it. But I did learn a few things from this project. One was that I should always keep my game design to a manageable size. Another was that I needed to have a way to keep myself motivated, and actually this is another reason I'm starting this devlog series. After like a year I think, after getting my job and settling down a little, I started this project, and since the main hurdle I had with the last project was really the sheer amount of artworks I had to do, with this project I decided to use assets from the Unity Asset Store this time. I chose simple and rough GIF animation style art with the last project because I somewhat knew working on arts would be a pain, and so I wanted to take a little bit of weight off that. But when you're the one that have to draw every single bits and pieces that are going to be shown in your game, all the characters, backgrounds, UIs and etc., it's a huge workload to pull off even with really simple art style. I pay my respect to all the game artists out there these days. So I'm using Asset Store assets to take even more weight off, and as well as uplifting the quality of art. Another major idea I had at this point was I decided to design this game based on the assets I'm going to use. A lot of developers would design their game first and then look for the assets that would help their design, so you can say I'm doing this the other way around. The main reason for me to take this approach is no matter what assets I found, it could not fully satisfy me. I felt something was always missing, and I bet a lot of other developers who went for asset hunting before felt something similar. Also, it's hard to use multiple assets together because they all have different art styles. At one point I was way too obsessed with finding the perfect assets, thinking I'll be able to do no artwork myself if I find the right ones. But I eventually knew there was me just looking for an easy way out, so I fixed up my mind and decided to put my own effort into art at least a bit. Still, it was important to keep in mind never to do too much of it, and this is the second reason I'm designing the game this way. By deriving game design from the assets, I could continuously check if a certain game design can be implemented with the assets I'm planning to use, and I would know of the extra artworks I'll have to do later. In some way, it seemed I was limited by the assets I'm going to use, and yes, it is true. An old coworker who used to work with me as a game designer, He did say it was a ridiculous way to design, and he must have his reasons for saying that, but I believe early game design stage is where anyone can be most creative, and I think there's no right or wrong way to do this. It may sound like an excuse, but I actually love the idea of designing a game not simply from my ideals, but from something that I couldn't or wouldn't have expected. So after spending quite an enjoyable time hunting for assets and imagining my future game, with the assets I chose, I decided to go with the text-based game like Reigns, 60 Seconds or FTL. It's a game where you become a domestic animal and you have to make certain choices to stay alive as long as possible. Although there were a few design changes along the way, I've stayed with this design ever since, and most importantly, I think I can actually finish this. So anyway, I think this nicely concludes how I started the game I named Farm Survival Log. With the next couple of videos, I think I will do a breakdown of the journey to this point. With the progress of the game right now, I think I'm a little over the halfway line, so I think I have a lot to talk about. Primarily, I'm gonna focus on making devlog videos with this channel, but if there's anything interesting, I'm planning to share with you guys. It was awkward making my first video, but hope you guys liked it. Feel free to leave comments if you have any feedbacks, and thank you for watching.